In a world torn between jealousy and love, betrayal and forgiveness, power and patience, rises the most captivating story ever told in human history. The story that even Allah called Ahsan al-Qasas, the best of all stories. This is the journey of Hazrat Yusuf, alayhi salam, a prophet whose life was filled with trials that would break most men, thrown into a well by his own brothers, sold as a slave, tested by seduction, imprisoned without fault, and yet he rose with unwavering faith, unmatched beauty, and unshakable trust in Allah. From the depths of darkness to the throne of Egypt, his story is one of hope, resilience, and divine wisdom. So sit back and let us take you on a journey through the life of a man whose dreams changed the course of history. This is the true story of Prophet Yusuf, alayhi salam. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's begin. In the quiet, blessed land of Canaan, there lived a noble prophet, Yaqub, alayhi salam, the grandson of Ibrahim, alayhi salam. Among his 12 sons, one shone brighter in both character and beauty, Yusuf, alayhi salam, a young boy whose heart was pure and whose face reflected the light of innocence. He was special, not only to his father, but in the eyes of Allah. And soon, a dream would reveal that destiny had chosen him for a journey unlike any other. One morning, Yusuf, alayhi salam, came to his father, excitement shining in his eyes. "Oh, my dear father," he said, "I saw 11 stars, and the sun and the moon, I saw them all prostrating to me." Surah Yusuf 12:4, Yaqub, alayhi salam, immediately understood. This was no ordinary dream. It was a sign from Allah, a prophecy. His beloved son was destined for greatness, but the road ahead would be paved with hardship. With gentle wisdom, he said, "O my son, do not relate your dream to your brothers, or they will plot against you. Surely, Satan is a clear enemy to mankind." Yaqub, alayhi salam, knew his other sons well. Though they were part of his family, their hearts burned with jealousy, not only because Yusuf was loved, but because they could see the light of prophecy upon him. That love, which should have been cherished, instead became the seed of envy. Day by day the jealousy grew. Whispers turned into angry stares. Eventually, they could no longer hide their hatred. "Why does our father love Yusuf more than us?" they muttered among themselves. "Are we not strong? Are we not many? Let us get rid of him, and our father's attention will return to us." One of the brothers, slightly softer than the rest, protested, "Do not kill him. Throw him into a well. A passing caravan may pick him up." The plan was set. With false smiles, they went to their father. "Oh, our father, let Yusuf come with us tomorrow. We'll take him to play and enjoy himself. We'll look after him well." Yaqub, alayhi salam, hesitated. His heart was heavy. He sensed something was wrong. "It saddens me that you should take him, and I fear that a wolf might devour him while you are unaware." They promised. They swore. And reluctantly, Yaqub, alayhi salam, agreed, placing his trust in Allah. That day, they led Yusuf, a.s., far into the desert. He walked with joy, unaware of what awaited him. Then, without mercy, they grabbed him and threw him into a deep, dark well. Alone and terrified, Yusuf, alayhi salam, clung to faith, not knowing that Allah was already planning something far greater than he could imagine. Back home, the brothers returned with false tears and a blood-stained shirt. "Oh, our father," they cried, "we went racing, and we left Yusuf with our belongings. A wolf came and devoured him, Look, here's his shirt, stained with blood." Yaqub alayhi salam looked at the shirt, strangely whole, not torn. His heart shattered, but he knew. He knew they were lying. He turned his eyes toward the heavens and said, "Rather, your souls have enticed you to something evil, so patience is most fitting, and Allah is the one sought for help against what you describe." That night, Yaqub alayhi salam wept until his heart could weep no more, but he did not lose hope. He knew that Allah never forgets the oppressed, never abandons the faithful. Meanwhile, deep within the well, Yusuf alayhi salam sat in darkness, but not despair. A voice came to him, the voice of divine reassurance. "You will surely inform them one day about this affair, while they do not perceive." Surah Yusuf 12:15. Days passed. Then a caravan traveling through the desert stopped for water. One of the men lowered a bucket into the well. As he pulled it up, to his shock, a young boy emerged, wide-eyed, beautiful, and dignified even in distress. "Good news!" he cried. "Here is a boy." But rather than care for him, they saw value. They hid him like a piece of merchandise and took him to Egypt, where he was sold in the marketplace, sold as a slave, as if his worth could be measured in coins. And yet, in that moment of humiliation, Allah was raising him. The buyer was no ordinary man. He was Al-Aziz, a high-ranking official of Egypt. Seeing something special in the boy, he told his wife, "Take care of him. Perhaps he may benefit us, or we may adopt him as a son." Thus, Yusuf alayhi salam entered a new world, a world of power, temptation, and hidden trials. But Allah had already planted the seeds of wisdom in his heart. And thus we established Yusuf in the land so that we might teach him the interpretation of events. Surah Yusuf 12:21. What began with a dream and a betrayal had now become the first step in a divine plan. Yusuf alayhi salam, once abandoned by his own blood, would one day rise from the darkness of a well to the throne of a kingdom. But that part of the story was still to come. It will cover Yusuf alayhi salam in Egypt, his trials with the minister's wife, and his imprisonment. Yusuf alayhi salam, once a boy lost in the depths of a well, now found himself walking through the grand halls of an Egyptian palace. The air was scented with rare oils, the marble floors polished like glass. He had been purchased by Al-Aziz, the chief minister of Egypt, a man of power, wealth, and influence. But it wasn't the luxury or riches that defined this new chapter. It was a test of character, patience, and steadfastness. From a young age, Yusuf alayhi salam carried a light, not just the light of beauty, which was unmatched, but the light of iman, faith, and purity. He was calm, thoughtful, and dignified. Those who looked at him were in awe. Even Al-Aziz's wife, Zulaykha, noticed something more than physical beauty. What started as admiration soon turned into dangerous desire. Years passed. Yusuf alayhi salam grew into a handsome and righteous young man. He served in the house with honesty, never misusing his position. But Zulaykha, unable to control her obsession, decided to act on her temptation. One day, when the house was empty and the doors were locked, she called out to him. "Come to me," she said, her voice seductive, her eyes full of longing. Yusuf alayhi salam was shocked. This was not a stranger. This was the wife of his master, the very woman who was supposed to look after him. In that moment, he could have given in. No one was watching. No one would know. But Allah was watching, and Yusuf alayhi salam was a prophet in the making. He turned away, his heart trembling, and said, I seek refuge in Allah. Surely my master has treated me well. It would be wrong of me to betray him. Indeed, the wrongdoers never succeed. But Zuleika insisted, chasing him through the palace, grabbing his shirt from behind as he ran. In that struggle, his shirt tore from the back, and at that moment the doors flew open. There stood her husband, Al-Aziz. She immediately cried out, twisting the truth. What is the punishment for one who intends evil for your wife, except that he be imprisoned or punished severely? Yusuf, alayhi salam, calm and honest, spoke the truth. It was she who tried to seduce me. A member of the household suggested a test. Check his shirt. If it is torn from the front, then she is telling the truth. But if it is torn from the back, then she is lying. The shirt was torn from the back. The truth was clear. Al-Aziz, though angry and embarrassed, tried to settle the matter quietly. He turned to his wife and said, "Indeed, this is from the tricks of women. Your sin is great, and you, Yusuf, ignore this matter. But rumors don't stay buried." The whispers spread. Women across the city began to gossip. The wife of Al-Aziz is madly in love with her servant. Can you believe it? Zuleika, furious at being mocked, devised a new plan. She invited those women to her palace for a feast. She handed each of them a knife and placed fruit before them. Then she called Yusuf to enter the room. As he walked in, the women gasped, stunned by his beauty. In their shock, they cut their own hands, not even feeling the pain. "This is not a man," they cried, "but a noble angel." Zuleika, with a proud smile, turned to them and said, "This is the one you blamed me for. I did try to seduce him, but he resisted. Yet if he does not do as I say, I will surely imprison him and humiliate him." Faced with constant pressure and no escape, Yusuf, alayhi salam, raised his hands to the heavens. "My Lord, prison is dearer to me than what they are inviting me to. Unless you turn their plot away from me, I might be inclined toward them." And so Allah answered his dua. Though he was innocent, Yusuf, alayhi salam, was imprisoned, not as a punishment, but as a part of the divine plan. In a world obsessed with appearance and desire, Yusuf chose honor over comfort, faith over fame, and submission to Allah over sin. In the darkness of the prison, Yusuf, alayhi salam, found peace. He had chosen Allah, and that choice gave him strength, even behind bars. Behind stone walls and iron gates, Yusuf, alayhi salam, would soon shine once again, not because of his looks, but because of his wisdom and his connection with the divine. Prison would not be his end. It would be the beginning of a transformation that would change the future of Egypt itself. The prison doors shut behind him, but Yusuf, alayhi salam, did not lose his light. He had been falsely accused, wrongly imprisoned, yet he held no bitterness in his heart, for he knew every trial from Allah is a step toward a greater purpose. In the cold, dark walls of prison, Yusuf, alayhi salam, lived with dignity. He prayed, reflected, and inspired those around him. It wasn't long before the other inmates began to notice his calmness, his wisdom, and his noble character. He stood out not just as a prisoner, but as a man of faith. 2 young men, both servants of the royal court, were thrown into prison with him. One had been the king's cupbearer, the other a royal baker. One night, both of them had strange dreams and woke troubled. They turned to Yusuf, alayhi salam, and said, "We see that you are a righteous man. Can you interpret our dreams for us?" Before answering, Yusuf, alayhi salam, took a moment to call them to the truth of Allah. Even in prison, he saw an opportunity to guide hearts. I have left the religion of people who do not believe in Allah. I follow the way of my fathers, Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub. We do not associate anything with Allah. This is a favor from our Lord, but most people are ungrateful. Then he said, O my companions of the prison, are many lords better, or Allah, the One and Supreme? His gentle dawah reached their hearts, and then he interpreted their dreams. To the cupbearer he said, You will be freed and return to serve the king. To the baker he said, You will be executed, and birds will eat from your head. The matter is decided. Both were shocked, one with hope, the other with fear. Then Yusuf, alayhi salam, turned to the cupbearer and quietly said, When you are free, mention me to your master. But when the cupbearer was freed and returned to his post, he forgot. Yusuf, alayhi salam, remained in prison year after year. Yet not once did he complain. He knew that Allah's plan was never rushed and never wrong. One night, the king of Egypt had a strange and terrifying dream. In it, he saw 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 thin ones, and 7 green stalks of grain and 7 dry ones. He awoke disturbed and called upon his advisers and priests. Interpret this for me, he demanded, but none could understand its meaning. They shrugged, saying, These are confused dreams. We do not know the interpretation of such things. At that moment, the cupbearer suddenly remembered Yusuf. His eyes widened in realization. I will tell you its interpretation. Just send me to the prison. He rushed to Yusuf and said, Yusuf, the truthful one, tell us the meaning of a dream where 7 fat cows are eaten by 7 lean ones, and 7 green stalks and 7 dry, so we may return to the king and let people know. Yusuf, alayhi salam, replied calmly, You will have 7 years of prosperity. During these years, harvest and store the grain. Leave it in the stalk, except what you eat. Then will come 7 years of hardship, consuming all you saved. After that, a year will come with rain and abundant fruit. The cupbearer returned and shared the interpretation. The king was amazed. This was no ordinary wisdom. He said, Bring this man to me. But Yusuf, alayhi salam, the man of dignity, refused to leave the prison without his honor being restored. Go back to your master, he said, and ask him about the women who cut their hands. Surely my lord knows their plot. The king called the women, including Zuleika, and questioned them. They all confessed, By Allah, we know no evil against him. Then Zuleika herself spoke, Now the truth is clear. It was I who tried to seduce him. He is surely among the truthful. Only then did Yusuf, alayhi salam, agree to leave. He walked out of prison with his head held high, not as a criminal, but as a man cleared of all wrongdoing. The king was deeply impressed. He invited Yusuf to join his court and recognized the brilliance in his speech, his honesty, and his foresight. Today, the king declared, you are established in our presence, trustworthy and honored. Yusuf, alayhi salam, humbly requested a position where he could help the people. Appoint me over the storehouses of the land. I am a knowledgeable guardian. The king agreed. And just like that, from the depths of a well, from the chains of a prison, Yusuf, alayhi salam, rose to become the treasurer of Egypt, managing the land during its time of prosperity and preparing for the famine to come. Years passed. Yusuf, alayhi salam, governed with justice and wisdom. He became beloved by the people and respected by the king. But across the desert, in the land of Canaan, The famine had also struck the family he once knew, the very brothers who had betrayed him. They were about to come to Egypt, begging for food, but they had no idea. The man they would stand before was none other than the brother they once threw into a well. The famine spread far and wide, from Egypt to the deserts of Canaan, where Yusuf's alayhi salam family lived. Hunger forced people to travel, and among the many who came to Egypt for food were his brothers, the same brothers who had thrown him into a well so many years ago. They stood before him in the palace, beards full of dust, hands calloused from travel. They bowed with respect, not knowing that the powerful Egyptian official before them was Yusuf, their own brother. He recognized them immediately, but they didn't recognize him. So much had changed. He had grown into a man of authority, dressed in royal robes, speaking the Egyptian tongue. Still, his heart trembled at the sight of them. He remained quiet. He didn't reveal himself. Instead, he tested their hearts. He questioned them. "Where are you from?" They replied, "We are 12 brothers, sons of one man from the land of Canaan. The youngest is with our father, and one brother is gone." Yusuf, alayhi salam, listened. The pain of his past stirred, but he held his emotions. He gave them food, but said, "Bring me your youngest brother. If you do not, you will get no food from me again." He instructed his servants to secretly return their payment inside their saddlebags, a gesture of generosity, though they still didn't know who he was. Back in Canaan, the brothers told their father, Yaqub, alayhi salam, everything. They begged to take Binyamin, Yusuf's full brother, back to Egypt. But Yaqub, alayhi salam, who had already lost Yusuf, was hesitant. "Shall I trust you with him like I did with his brother before?" he said, heartbroken. Eventually, he agreed, making them swear by Allah that they would protect Binyamin. He also advised them to enter the city from different gates, not all together, out of fear of evil eyes. When they returned to Egypt with Binyamin, Yusuf alayhi salam welcomed them warmly. He invited Binyamin to stay close and revealed his identity to him in secret. "Indeed, I am your brother, so do not be sad for what they did." He then devised a plan to keep Binyamin with him. As the caravan was about to leave, a royal cup was hidden in Binyamin's bag. A shout rang out, "O people of the caravan, you are thieves!" The brothers were shocked and denied the accusation. The guard searched the bag and found the cup in Binyamin's. According to their own custom, the one caught would be held back. The brothers begged for mercy, offering one of themselves instead. But Yusuf, alayhi salam, refused. "We will only keep the one with whom the cup was found." The brothers returned to their father without Binyamin. They told Yaqub, alayhi salam, what had happened, but the grief broke his heart once again. He wept until he went blind, crying, "Oh, my sorrow for Yusuf." He turned to Allah in deep faith. "I only complain of my suffering and my grief to Allah, and I know from Allah what you do not know." He told his son to return to Egypt once more, not only for food, but to look for both Yusuf and Binyamin. When they returned, they pleaded with Yusuf alayhi salam once again. They had reached the depths of desperation. That's when Yusuf alayhi salam could no longer hold back. He looked at them and said, "Do you know what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you were ignorant?" The brothers were stunned. Their eyes widened. "Are you Yusuf?" He smiled gently and said, Yes, I am Yusuf, and this is my brother. Allah has indeed been gracious to us. Their hearts sank in shame. They fell silent, fearing punishment. But what came next was not anger. It was forgiveness. No blame will be upon you today. May Allah forgive you. He is the most merciful of the merciful. Tears flowed. The brothers were humbled. A family once broken was being healed, not by revenge, but by mercy. Yusuf, alayhi salam, gave them his shirt and said, "Take this shirt and cast it over my father's face. His sight will return. Then bring me all of your family." Back in Canaan, as the caravan approached, Yaqub, alayhi salam, said, "Indeed, I smell the scent of Yusuf, if you do not think me mad." When they placed the shirt on his face, his eyesight was restored. His tears became tears of joy. Yaqub, alayhi salam, raised his hands and praised Allah. "Did I not tell you that I know from Allah what you do not know?" The entire family traveled to Egypt. Yusuf, alayhi salam, welcomed them with honor and respect. He raised his parents upon the throne, and all of them bowed to him in gratitude, a symbolic bow, not of worship, but of honor and reunion. At that moment, Yusuf, alayhi salam, turned to Allah and said, "O my Lord, you have given me of the kingdom and taught me the interpretation of dreams. Creator of the heavens and the earth, you are my protector in this world and the hereafter. Let me die as a Muslim and join me with the righteous." And thus the dream he saw as a child, the stars and the sun and moon bowing before him, was fulfilled. And so the journey ends where it all began, with a dream. The little boy, once thrown into a well, now stands tall in a palace, surrounded by the very family who once betrayed him. But there is no hatred in his heart, only peace, only forgiveness. Yusuf, alayhi salam, had every reason to seek revenge, but instead he chose mercy, a mercy that healed hearts and reunited a broken family. He had seen hardship, tasted loneliness, and faced trials no child should bear. Yet through it all, he held on to one thing, faith. And now, the dream Allah showed him as a child, made of the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing before him, has come true. His parents stand beside him. His brothers bow, not in worship, but in honor, in love, and in awe of Allah's wisdom. In that moment of fulfillment, Yusuf, alayhi salam, doesn't boast. He doesn't claim greatness. Instead, he turns to the one who gave him everything. He raises his hands and whispers, "O my Lord, you've granted me power and knowledge. You created the heavens and the earth. You are my guardian in this life and the next. Let me die as a Muslim and join me with the righteous." This is not just the end of a story. It is the proof that patience is never lost, that pain has a purpose, that with hardship comes ease, and that Allah never forgets His servant. This is the story of Yusuf, alayhi salam, a story of unwavering faith, pure forgiveness, and a dream beautifully fulfilled. Lessons from Yusuf's, alayhi salam, life. Patience through trials brings the sweetest rewards. Forgiveness is more powerful than revenge. Allah's plan is always perfect, even if we don't see it at first. True success lies in dying as a Muslim and joining the righteous.